Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened one. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello everyone. Welcome to Empty Cloud Buddhist Monastery. And on this Friday morning Dhamma talk, I would like to guide you through a short meditation first. Let's settle down. Settle on your seats. Sit comfortably. Keep right palm on the left palm. Connect the two thumbs lightly and gently and place them on your lap. Straighten your back and the head. Relax your shoulders. Shoulders slightly to the back and chest little bit to the front to make sure your back spine is straight. Make sure your respiratory system works better and smoothly. Take a good long deep breath through the nostrils. And hold it for a few seconds. And then slowly release and relax step by step. Take one more deep breath. Hold it for a few seconds and then slowly release and relax. One more, this time a little shorter. And then release and relax. Focus on your breath. Incoming and outgoing breath. Focus on your body posture. Be mindful about the sounds around and the sensations you feel. Look into your own body. Listen to your own body. Feel the different sensations. Be mindful about the most prominent activity in your body right now. See which part of the body is more active right now. Is it the upper part of your body, the brain, the head, or the midsection of your body, the chest, the back, or the stomach, or the lower section of your body? The knees, the ankle, shin bone. Be mindful. Observe the sensations. Listen to your own body. If you hear any sound inside the body, recognize any specific sensation, any body pain, numbness, tightness, discomfort. Observe that particular sensation. Pay attention to that particular sensation. See how it appears and sustains, evolves, develops, changes over time, moves from one part to another, changing the intensity of the pain or the tightness or the numbness, and see how it eventually disappears. With that, we take a good long deep breath one more time, hold it for a few seconds, and then slowly release and relax. Let's do it together. Release and relax. Keep your palms together close to your heart and say 3 times Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Gently and compassionately towards yourself And towards everyone else, please open your eyes. All right. So, this morning I thought of sharing with you a sutta called Dhamma Niyamata Sutta, and also talk with you a little bit about how important it is to meditate. One time, the Blessed One was living in Savatthi, Jetavana Monastery, and that time he addressed the monks. So we see quite often, whenever we see the Buddha addressing the monks directly, when he sees the monks directly, when there is an assembly of monks directly, then he would go deep into the Dhamma. If there are some lay people, that Dhamma is not so profound right away. So depending on the audience, the Buddha would teach the Dhamma. So this time, the Blessed One addressed the monks. There he addressed the monks. And the monks also replied, Venerable Sir, Bhadante or even Bhante means Venerable Sir. Those monks replied to the Fortunate One. The Fortunate One said, the Buddha started the Dhamma, deep Dhamma, right away. Uppadava bhikkhave tathagatanang anuppadava tathagatanang. Monks. Whether Tathagatas appear in the world or not. Tathagata. Tathagata is the Buddha, the Blessed One. The one who has come to the truth. The one who has realized the truth. Whether the Tathagatas or the Blessed Ones or the Buddhas, perfectly enlightened ones, appear in this world or not. Thitavasa dhatu dhamma thitata dhamma niyamata. This fact remains the same. What is that fact? What is that truth? This truth is persistent and invariable. Dhamma thitata. Dharma or Dhamma still is there, still exists. Whether the Buddhas appear in the world or not, the Dhamma is still there. Dhamma niyamata. This Dhamma niyama or the law of Dhamma is still there. It is persistent and it is invariable. What is that Dhamma niyama? What is that law of Dhamma? Sabbe sankhara anicca. All formations are impermanent. This is the truth. This is the Dhamma that is there in the world, whether the Buddhas appear in the world or not. All, all conditioned things, sankhara, all conditioned things. Only the Nibbana is unconditional in that matter. The rest of the things are just conditioned. You and I are conditioned. We have changed. Anicca, nicca, na nicca, not permanent. We came into this world as very little, sweet little babies. And then we grew, we became younger, we became stronger, and then we became mature, we became elder, middle age, and then we grow old. Our skin starts wrinkling, shows signs of age. We get sick. We see the signs of impermanence in the body, changing all the time. It happens with the parents, for example. They look at the baby all the time, and they also notice that they are the same, that they are changing, all the time changing. If someone sees the baby after a few years, they will notice it better. Oh, the baby has grown bigger, and he or she has changed a lot. They can see that better. But the one who constantly sees that does not necessarily see that change. Constantly sees in the sense you just see through the eyes, not through the internal eye, but through the external eye. So we see things and we ourselves change. Later on, we become old and eventually we die. So this is impermanence. So now there will be a lot of questions. Why do we talk about impermanence? Why should we not talk about something positive? Why should we not talk about something optimistic? And why is it negative? Why is it impermanent? That is very interesting too, because it is actually the truth. Whether the Buddhas live in this world or not, appear in this world or not, this is the truth. We change, but we try to think, we try to pretend that we are not changing. Some people say, I have not changed, I don't change, you are the one changed. People sometimes fight with each other also. I don't change, you are the one changed. You have changed a lot. Look, I have not changed. It's not true. We all change. If there is something that doesn't change in the world, that is the change. That doesn't change. We change all the time. We see many things in the world change. Certain things like the great ocean, we see it doesn't change. Apparently it doesn't change, but it changes too. All the trees you see, like the great redwood trees, I saw recently in the New Jersey Buddhist Vihara a beautiful redwood tree that was planted a long time ago, and we see that in California, very big trees. Looks like they don't change. They also change. They start with very little simple plants and then grow bigger and bigger. Although they survive longer time, they change. This changing is not negative to think that is changing. It is a very positive way, a very realistic way of coping up with things. The problems happen to us because we think that things don't change. That is why the problems happen. So the sutta says, Tathagatas, whether they appear in the world or not, things change. Sabbe sankhara anicca, all formations are impermanent. Tang tathagato abhisambhujyate abhisameti. Tathagata awakens to it, realizes this truth. Abhisambhujyate. Abhi means profoundly, deeply. Bujjati is to realize. Sambujjati, realize overall comprehensively. So the Buddha sees this thing, realizes this thing very comprehensively. Abhisameti, he realizes this truth. And that is how the Buddha preaches the Dhamma. In the first ever sermon by the Buddha, he started with Dukkha Satya, the truth of suffering. That is about the change. Everything changes, everything is impermanent. All conditioned things, all sankharas, all formations change. The rupa that we have right here, if you use a telescope, a powerful camera, a lens, you can see it's constantly changing. Our small cells are constantly changing. They appear and disappear. They appear and disappear. We see that. That is the truth. But we normally don't see it through the naked eye. That is our problem. That is not the problem of the Dhamma. So the Buddhas, the Tathagatas, realizes this truth. Abhisambhujjitva abhisamitva achikkati deseti panyapeti patthapeti vivarati vibhajati uttani karoti. Having awoken to it and realized it, the Blessed One, the Tathagata, announces it. He teaches. Achikkati announces it. Deseti, he teaches it. He preaches it. Panyapeti expresses. Patthapeti reveals. Vivarati explains. Vibhajati clarifies. So all kinds of changes that's happening, the impermanent things that's happening, the Blessed One explains these things very much in detail. Sabbe sankhara anicca, all formations are impermanent. This is the truth that is there in the world, whether the Tathagatas appear or not. The problem with us is we don't see it. We don't see it. We don't, at least we pretend not to see it. We are blindfolded. So the Tathagatas appear from time to time to teach us this Dhamma. Upadava bhikkhave tathagathanang anupadava tathagathanang thitavasa dhatu dhamma thitata dhamma niyamata. This Dhamma thita or Dhamma niyama, the existing of this Dhamma, the law is Dhamma is there. Now the second one is Sabbe Sankhara Dukkha. The first one is everything is changing, everything is impermanent. The second thing is whenever there is a change, because we don't like the change, you pretend that you don't change. You reiterate that you don't change, but we change. When we see the change, you suffer. Sabbe sankhara dukkha. So all the conditioned things are changing, impermanent, and therefore it is suffering. Yada nichang tang dukkhang. If something is impermanent, that is subject to suffering. This is very true. Like if we look at our own selves, you can see you go to the mirror every single day, look at the mirror, and you look through your body, your skin. If there is any tiny little spot, you feel sad. Oh, I have some pimple, I have some wrinkle, I have some gray hair. Look at me, I'm changing. And you don't want to accept it, you suddenly cover it. You suddenly use something to cover that so that the world outside will not see that. You try to fake it, and because you don't want it. Whenever there is a change, we suffer. We are not happy. we are unhappy. So this is there, even when there is the Buddha in this world or not. This is the truth. And having realized this truth, the Buddha, he explains it. He announces, teaches, describes, expresses, reveals, explains, and clarifies it. So we need to constantly remind that this is there. Condition, formations change, formations suffer. And the other thing is, whenever there is suffering, there is no permanent entity because we can control. Sabbe Dhamma anatta. All phenomena are impersonal. We can't really say there is something personal. Now, same thing with our own body. We think this is I, me, myself, and therefore whenever there is a change, I suffer. And if it is me or if it is myself, I should be able to control it. I should be able to monitor. Okay, I can control. I should be able to do that. I don't want to grow old. I should be able to control it. Doesn't happen. We sometimes try. People go to gyms, people take vitamins, people go to doctors, and they do makeup, they wear beautiful clothes, they try many ways, they try. But you can really run away from the reality. You grow old, you get sick. Even the best of the best people, they get sick. We saw that. How the pandemic penetrated all those almost invincible people. Some people thought, they pretended that they would never be subjected to sickness. But we saw pandemic had not spared anyone. The most powerful, the most influential, the most affluent people, the most strongest, healthiest, and most educated. Everyone was sick. People died. We saw that. And how difficult it was for us to think that it happens to us. The thing is, because we think it is I, me, myself. Whenever I think of this body, if tiny little thing happens to this body, I feel suffering, I feel sad, I don't want to accept it. I feel bad. And this is why it is important to think there is no I, me, myself. It's easier to assume, like, for example, if something happens to someone in the world, like whenever there is, let's say, a natural calamity, we feel sad for them. Some faraway country, something happened, an earthquake happened, and a flood happened, somebody died, somebody was sick, and then we see that, we feel like so sad, and after a while we don't feel sad anymore, we forget. But the more something closer to you, the more somebody is or something closer to you happen, then you see the panic, then you see the real suffering in you. This is really true. Even if something happens to your dearest, to your beloved pet, you know how you suffer. Because you think, this is my pet, this is my mother, this is my sister, this is my brother, this is my wife, my husband, my child, my brother, sister, my relative, my friend, my teacher, my. So this is why we suffer. So thinking thus, we have to focus We have to practice that things are changing, things are subject to change, and therefore we suffer. And if something is impermanent, if something is suffering, we really cannot say there is a permanent entity. We really cannot say that it is I, me, myself. This is the truth. So I think yesterday we were having a discussion, right? Regarding like people have different notions like my country, my language, my culture, all this I, me, myself, right? And so eventually we have to think like I said like the onion. We take one by one. Okay, my country gone, my culture gone, my language gone, my family, my neighborhood, my friends, myself. If you analyze it, if you let them go one by one, there is no mind. There is nothing that we can call I, me, myself. So if we think that way, it will be helpful. And now those people who also have, I see, you see, if someone is suffering due to stress, or there are people who suffer from stress, they can also think of it that way. I think everything is subject to change, everything is impermanent, so we need to see that there is nothing called I, me, myself. Whether you are an Asian person or a European person or an American person or an African person or an Australian person, all and every one of us is made of four elements: Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu. All of us have these four elements. Maybe the component, something, maybe the skin is little different, but our emotions, our our whole composition is actually the same. Everything is same. Our blood is the same. So we have the same elements, but these elements are changing all the time. This is what we need to think. And we are made up of these skeletons, and made up of these muscles, made up of this um, skin. And actually same thing with the animals too. They too have the four elements. So one time the Venerable Moggallana, he tried to see the end of the world. He wanted to see the end of the world because Venerable Moggallana is a very powerful monk. He had lot of mystic powers, supernatural powers. He could pierce through the walls, and he could see through the walls, and he could fly in the air. He could do many magic. So he thought, I am very powerful. I could go look at the end of the world, see the end of the world. So he started his voyage um, from one galaxy to another. And then the Buddha created a magical hand, pulled him back, and said, don't be stupid. You no matter how much you try, and with all your powers, mystic powers, magical powers, supernatural powers, until the end of your life you can try, you will never be able to see the end. So then how do we do that? How do we see the end? The Buddha said, look into yourself. You see the beginning, you see the end. Everything you have in this body, it is the same thing the outside as well. You see the four elements within you, look into that, and the very same thing is there outside too. You see the trees, you see the rocks, you see the ocean everywhere. all the animals, all the trees, all the flowers, all beautiful things, all ugly things, whatever you see, they are all made up of four elements. So if you look into yourself, actually, it is much better and easier and comfortable. You can see the four elements. And this is the Buddha's teaching. So now there is a question. I think you have some questions, maybe. Um, so everything is impermanent in this life. So what motivates us to live better, to live comfortable, to do jobs, to study, and what motivates us to even practice the Dhamma? That is an interesting question. This is where we really can practice the real Dhamma, true Dhamma. We need to see that this body is impermanent. It doesn't mean we don't want to get rid of this body. You see through the eyes, you can see things. You can see many beautiful things. It doesn't mean everything is impermanent, everything is suffering, so we should not even see that. I wish I don't have eyes. That's not the teaching. Now you have ears, you can hear things. So when you hear things, so you also create karma. Everything is impermanent, everything is changing, everything is suffering. So what is the point in having ears in me? It is better if I am deaf. That's not teaching. That is not the Dhamma. Now you have these 6 faculties in you. They are there for you to live your life. Your body is there. You should do your activities in day-to-day life. You should do good business. You should study. You should exercise. You should eat better food. You should wear better clothes. That is perfectly all right. But you also need to know that these things, although you have these things, those are subject to change. They are impermanent. They are not permanent. So some people like live their life assuming that they are not going to die. This is the problem. This one we should avoid. We should abandon that notion. So if you know that your life is impermanent, that means you live your life better as better people. You practice the Dhamma because our life is impermanent. We don't live forever. And you also don't get angry with others because you don't live forever. We don't harm others because we don't live forever. They don't also live forever. So we do good and we be good. And that way, realizing the truth that everything is subject to change, everything is impermanent, everything is suffering, and therefore we try to make use of this short life as much as we can to practice the Dhamma, to be better human beings. That is the idea. That is the true essence of the teaching. So I hope this was helpful to you today. If you have any question, I would like to answer. Or if not, I would like to wish you all very happy, very healthy, very good life. With that, I would like to invoke blessings upon you. May you all be well, happy, healthy, safe, wherever wherever you are. May the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you, help you, protect you, and guide you towards the right path. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Do you have any question?
And maybe just letting everybody know tonight at 8 o'clock. No, 7:30.
Yeah.
7:30 is monk chat. So if there are questions about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, people can.
Yes.
Bhante Sumitta will be here to answer your questions.
So at 7:30 tonight, we will have monk chat. I'll be meeting you again and hope to see you. If you have any questions that you have related to this Dhamma talk or to any other things in general, I would like to answer you. Okay, thank you and looking forward to seeing you later. May you all be well, happy, healthy. Wish you a very happy day. Sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu.